Now we thought we thought that since I've talked about a lot of my work, that Paul would talk about a lot of his work, starting from the time that he left General Motors and why he left General Motors, and then we'll move on a bit on that.
Well, the public relations guy decided it would be a good idea that I leave since I haven't been shown up to work.
What, the GM?
Yeah.
Oh.
But the problem was, I'd been on layoff for almost a year. And I said, there's one reason I've not been showing up, because I've been laid off all this time.
But you still had not officially quit?
No.
And you were getting unemployment?
Right.
Yeah.
Plus the union was
well, then the union top up, yeah.
He said, well, that doesn't make a difference. I was like,
well,
but it does.
Was it a PR guy from GM, or was it a PR guy, say, just wanting to...
From GM.
Oh. Well, how could that be positive PR for them?
Because I had to go out there every day and see if they were calling anybody back. And I was told no. And they said, well, Mr. So-and-so wants to meet with you. So I went, I waited, and I was called in, and that's when he started this crap about me missing so much work.
The PR guys started giving you crap?
Right. And I said, I'm laid off. I said, I'm on layoff. I said, I'm running around. I said, I'm looking for other stuff every day like I'm supposed to, according to the unemployment office. And I check in here every day to see if they're calling anybody back in the department.
And this was when we were over at Lakeview.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, could they not just call you on the phone? Well, see, this is like
evidently not.
all the other stuff that goes on in the world. If somebody has power over somebody, they will exercise it without regard. They'll exercise like what's that wonderful word I'm looking for? Just willy-nilly or at will, for fun. It's kind of like Nero, how he killed people. I'm sorry, it's just so much the way of the world. You get some guy that's got authority over the people, and they just, I'm going to screw people over.
Yeah, and I got, it was me. Because this was just after Dad had retired and left.
Well, you didn't have some sort of 40-year-old union member to protect you, did you? No.
Right, because you had to have, in order to get in there, you had to have a relative in there.
Yeah.
And they had to also keep working to get you in. Because it took about a year or two after high school.
Yeah, well, we'd mentioned that. So now, So how long did this period of limbo last?
Oh shit! It was a year and a half.
Okay, and then what did you do?
I kept job hunting.
Well, I know you did. I mean, you went out and you really did. I mean, you were out.
Yeah.
Thrashing away at it.
And I wound up with that job at that Lawson's. It was Lawson's then.
But by that time, we were up here, right?
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That worried me to death. He worked out at some sort of convenience store at night. I was absolutely so afraid he'd be shot or some damn thing. I was just scared to death every time he left for work.
I was there. Shit. Sometimes I would show up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes I'd take a break like about 4
Yeah, I
o'clock.
know.
Come home, grab something to eat.
Your schedule was all over the
Charge
wall.
it and then run back down.
That was awful.
And the manager and I kept going after the district supervisor. You know, you've got to help get somebody in here. And he kept saying, we can't do that. We can't do that. You two can handle it.
You know what? I bet he had. I bet he had listed somebody else on the books, and the two of the districts, the two of them were splitting that salary that was being funneled in for paying them.
Could have.
I bet
But
you
there
anything.
wasn't anybody there.
I bet you anything. That's what they were reporting upstairs, and these guys were splitting whatever salary would normally be paid to a new employee.
Could have.
Well,
I couldn't tell you.
it wouldn't be the first time you've heard about that, would you? Would it? So, how long were you there?
Oh, shit.
You're about a year and a half.
I was there for a while because I worked at, I left there and went to Kentucky Fried Chicken,
Yeah.
and I was only there about a year. And
Were you at Kentucky Fried Chicken a year?
yeah.
Oh. How come we didn't have more Kentucky Fried Chicken coming home?
Well, we did. And they were nuts. They only had me come over and
I'm greedy.
they'd have me come all the way over to Dublin and work for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Lunch spread.
Well, that's like
Send me home.
that's like these guys that make me sit around all day in the hospital from about 11 to 5 to do a D&C, you know.
Yeah. Well, I was never, there to get off closing time when all the leftovers
A welfare D&C.
collectibles.
Which actually cost me about, $60 to go in the room because of my malpractice and shit.
Because I got the corporate housing job while I was still at the chicken joint.
Oh, so now we need to actually...
And that's how I started getting the late hours.
Well, describe this corporate housing job.
I go all over damn town cleaning an apartment.
First, let's explain about what corporate housing. Corporate housing is an outfit that rents condos and apartments and then rents them to corporate executives or corporations who need a place for their executives to stay
In transition.
when they're coming into Columbus to stay for a period from anywhere from a night to several months. And
or somebody that has put their house up on the market.
Yeah, or somebody's house burned down and that sort of thing.
Their house is sold, and they're not able to get into the new place yet.
So that's what they did, and and it sounds like a really good idea. But the problem is, of course, these things are all over this metropolitan area, which is it's a Columbus now is like the 12th biggest city in the United States, unbelievably. But the metropolitan area is. And so Paul was driving, like all overall. And these guys did not provide corporate vehicles. He was driving his own personal vehicle to do all this. So basically what he was doing was he was subsidizing their transportation costs.
Right.
Now they would every now and again they'd toss you a $50 thing on that, but come on, that doesn't cover it.
Yeah.
We actually sat down and worked that out. It didn't cover it.
Yeah. Well, like when I went and had my taxes done the last year I was there.
Well, no, that's
tax
a separate.
person said,
well,
you only made $2,000.
Yeah, I know. Well, we can talk about that in a minute. But what I wanted to get to is other than the fact that you worked very hard and you drove all over town and you did everything that was asked of you and you learned all the tricks of the trade about cleaning nonsense off of other objects.
Right.
How were you treated? They knew you were gay.
Right.
And, sometimes they'd call here and they'd talk to me. There was this one woman who was absolutely obnoxious. There was one woman who was okay. I could talk with her. There was this other one who was completely obnoxious. I'd just hang up on her. I refused to talk to the woman. I told her at one point, I said, look, you are a very hateful individual, and I won't deal with you anymore. And I hung up on him. But yeah, there were remarks, I'm sure. Maybe
What
not.
sort of-
Well, I don't know. Little innuendos. I don't know. I mean, I got the sense there were, but maybe I'm just projecting my experience onto you.
No.
Well, having said I might be projecting my experience onto you, I'll tell you one overt tale. Now I wasn't openly out. I'll tell you two tales now. I wasn't openly out at work in the sense of like I walked in one day and said, "Hey guys, I'm out." But people knew I was out. Paul and I go to parties at their houses and so forth. People talk and that sort of thing. And when I was involved with Stonewall Union, I had signed several newspaper ads, put my name on it and that sort of thing. Well, there was this one guy who was, just and maybe he still is for all I know, but he certainly was at the time, one of the most obnoxious human beings I've ever met in my life. Now, God gave him his eventually.
Dr. B.
Well, let's not. No, this guy's still alive, and he's very litigious. But he was from Canada, and he. He was like the prototype bigot. Plus he wasn't even a U.S. citizen. So here's this immigrant, albeit with a green card, condemning me, an American,
For being an American.
a gay American at any rate, for what it's worth. I mean, that's a bit of irrelevancy, but still, in any case, so he, by the way, this guy's a very good surgeon. I did anesthesia for him a lot. He actually sometimes would request me, but he didn't. He was at the stage of his career where he wasn't operating very much. He wasn't doing big stuff. He was doing like a little hernia or a TID or something like that. And but he took on a younger guy who was doing very big time surgery and who I would have willingly let operate on me at any time. And sometimes you sort of be calmed in the lounge between cases for a while, and I dropped my pen or I dropped a note I was taking or making about something, and I bent over and this guy shouts over to his his partner, his business associate, if you will. He says, "Watch out there, Steve. Kersey's presenting his ass to you." I told you this, didn't I?
Yeah.
That was. Yeah. And I just turned and looked over at Frank and just laughed. And I said, you're incorrigible and you're just never going to get it. Just laughed and laughed and laughed. And went back and sat down in the chair where I had been sitting, and I just continued to laugh, I don't know what he was hoping to achieve by doing that. And Steve, God bless him, he and I had gotten along very famously. He had been like a surgery resident 2 years behind me, and we had known each other a long time, and he just kind of just was sitting there shaking his head, Well, that's stealing the thunder from Paul. So now, the last 2 years Paul worked, you essentially made no money at all.
Right.
Because of the your automotive expenses.
Right.
And the fact that they...
And they decided he started paying some trivial shit
what they did...
And that was it.
Yeah, what they did was they went from an hourly rate to piecework rate.
And they took away the gas expense and all that shit.
And so he ended up... The year before you left, you made about like $1,000.
Yeah.
He netted about $1,000. And then the year before he left, you actually lost $2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then he quit. And then now talk about how you looked for work for where you are now. Well, talking about going to the library, and we didn't have a computer then, and it was
right.
like,
I went down to the library and I did everything online, hunting around.
Now, Paul had some experience online
Every time,
in his work.
While driving around, every time I saw something like this shredded trucks that goes to the banks and shred up all the documents and stuff, I'd copy all their phone numbers and stuff off online and their address and their www.shreddit.com. That's
I don't make fun of that nearly as much now, do I?
That's what I was doing. And plus, got all these freaking hotels over here and inns. I hit every one of them.
Well, also, and you not only hit him, you did the online stuff, and then you went and did a personal visit with your resume.
Right.
Yeah.
And I even filled out a handwritten application. And I carried a staple with me, and I would staple the application on top of my resume form. And Hampton Inn, is the only one that called me back. Well, not actually, because, as soon as they did, and they hired me, I started, and then it was like everybody else over in the area that I'd gone to, they started calling.
After you'd started, yeah.
And
I'm sure glad you ended up where you ended up.
Still interested. I'm like, sorry, I'm working.
Well, good. I'll tell you, I was so impressed. Paul pulls the pin around January. Early January of. You've been there now.
Yeah.
2000. Let's see. So 2000.
I was at CH since '88.
Well, I know that, but
and I left at 2010.
2010. So early January 2011. This is he's said adios MFers, and I was so impressed how he went about trying to find work. I really was. He really had no choice, but he just went at it hammer and tongs, and I was just so proud of him, and pleased with how he did this. And this for you, this has probably got to be about the best situation you can end up in.
Yeah.
Yeah. They treat him great. They realize his skills. Tell him about that meeting where this woman walked over behind you and put her hand on your head and said, if this guy ever tells you how to do something, you listen to him because he's done this, far longer than any of us in this room.
Yeah, we had it was two different ones. That was one that I'm at, and then one down close to the airport. Some reason they put all the people they brought all their people out, some of their housekeepers and supervisors and stuff.
We got a lot of good leftover food from that.
And our GM, she passed.
That's Joe manager.
She passed pennies out, and she had to go by the date on the penny. And you were to explain where you were that year and what you were doing. So when it came my turn, she comes all the way around to where I was sitting, and she says, "Trust me, this ought to be good." She says, "Because he's been in this business for about 25 years already."
Oh yeah. Well, you were in corporate housing for like 23 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And he knows what he's talking about. He's got all kinds of tricks up his sleeve.
Well, indeed you do. So he's been employed a month, and he gets all these, pulling people's ass out of the fireworks. And, look,
this is my second time.
Show him that pin that they make you wear.
Oh, or the hand.
Yeah, the gold. The gold thing that they make you wear.
I think it looks like a McDonald's.
Yeah, well, I mean, but you're the only one that wears it.
I was the only one given one. The general manager walked over and said, "This is just for you."
Hamptonality starts with
me.
Me, yeah.
She walked there and it was in a little. This is for you.
I think that's great. I really do. Good for you.
Because I got a Hero of the Month thing. Because this big inspection was coming up. And I saw the woman checking in. And when she got away from the desk, I called the supervisor I was working with that day. And I said, "She's here." And I said, "Have you seen anything we need to knock off and do fast?"
It's like Faulty Tower and the inspectors.
Because you know she's going to roam the halls tonight and see things.
Was this after you had started where you started
I
cleaning?
didn't get home till almost 8 o'clock that night.
But I mean, shortly after you started, there was a thing where they came in and inspected, and they were checking under and on top of the ice machines,
pop machines,
and they expected to find all this dust and crap. But Paul had already cleaned it out because
I got 100%.
That's the way he would have done it anyway.
I got 100% on that.
Now,
because I do them every day.
If you look at how we live,
I carry a hand towel in my pocket. So every time I go on each floor, I take the hand towel and I swipe over the top of the machines and wipe the front of them down. Every day.
Well, good. I mean, that's
why.
So you got like some sort of star, not you may have done later, but the hotel got the top award and
Yeah. We're like in third place or something as being the top. And the GM, she says, we're trying our best to get up. Well, the problem is we've got old stuff. And this woman just won't give us the things about it. But they're changing because they're going to rip the dining room all apart and everything in the lobby. And
well, they're refurbishing.
Revamping.
They're revamping.
Like guys are coming in with jackhammers ripping out all the stone floors.
Oh, that'd be very pleasant. I don't know, why would you remove stone floor?
For some reason, these big, thick tiles are cracking and splitting.
Well, there's some caulk in there, or whatever. I mean,
you can't because it goes right through the middle of the tile.
That's all right. Just pound some crap down in it and then scrape off the stuff that's left on the tile.
Well, they've tried, but it just doesn't.
A little hydrochloric acid goes a long way, guys.
It just seems not to work.
Well, all right. Well, if it didn't work, it didn't work.
Because if you replace the caulk,
Caulking
everybody's dragging their luggage all around.
Caulking is not the right term.
It's like cement between the tiles.
Cement is probably closer to what I'm looking at. Working to it. But see, I know nothing about this kind of stuff. I am inept in that area. Well, those areas. All I could do is squeeze the bag and pump blood.
What she got me on, we didn't even think about it. But when you get off the elevators, there's a marble top table with a customer service.
Yeah, with a bunch of crap on it.
And
I've seen those things. Yeah.
Plastic flower shit sitting there.
Why? Yes.
And a Kleenex box thing.
Oh, a box. I thought maybe some sort of used snot rag.
I didn't think about it, but I did not dust and wipe off the legs on those.
Huh?
And that's what she saw.
The dust on the legs of this
on these
bullshit table outside the elevator.
Wrought iron legs, they looked chalky to her.
Well, they had to paint those wrought iron legs gray. You wouldn't see the dust on gray wrought iron legs.
They are gray.
Oh, well, hell's fire. How many were there clumps of dust?
But they
on
still
them?
look. No, they just look cloudy.
Oh, I like that. Cloudy,
They're not
cloudy legs.
On the flat edges. It's not as dark as the.
Oh, she was looking at shadow and contrast. Oh,
right.
Was she an artiste? Was she a photographer?
Oh, that woman sees everything.
Well, good for her.
I mean,
well, yeah, it's nice if you can see everything.
It
sure beats the alternative.
I am the assistant the assistant person. We actually tried to. She took off. She tried to mop the stairways. She couldn't get something up.
We call that displacement behavior.
So, I went to see what her problem was. And I took a spray bottle with floor cleaner in it.
Oh, well, you got some sort of magic potion in that.
And we got down on our hands and knees.
It doesn't seem to remove,
scrub
the underlying surface, but
we scrubbed with a brush and rag to get this spill stain market that she didn't get with the mop.
Paul has his
using the same floor cleaner.
Paul has his own proprietary mixtures.
So she didn't get us through the stairwells.
Well, shit.
Lee and I worked on the place until 8 o'clock at night.
Well, that was sort of where you sort of hit your in terms of how they viewed you, you hit your stride.
No, we still got a very high.
Oh yeah.
Score.
Oh yeah. Well, there we are. I think, and they treat you. I mean, there's no contempt, and they let him know when he's going to work, and it's not like they screw with him, and so. I think it's just great. I mean, I think this is a great job for Paul.
Hey, you don't even have health insurance for it.
Oh, he's got health insurance.
I get paid for holidays.
He's got the whole range of these benefits. I mean, just astonishing.
I get paid for holidays. I get paid for vacation days.
He can go to the doctor. He doesn't. It's like maybe $10, $20. It's just like. It's great. Good for him. Well, I think this pretty much covers this segment. So
I didn't have this good of health insurance with General Motors.
Really? Oh, that's astonishing because I did a lot of GM people when I did anesthesia and GM retirees, and I tell you that was like
they give you
that was the gold standard. Well,
they give you a pack of paperwork. Like a freaking college midterm that you had to fill out.
all this insurance crap is, see, I view the word insurance as synonymous with fraud and lies. That's how I view insurance. But in some of these folks' cases, I mean, it's like, no, I'm glad I met you, that kind of stuff. And so. We have a lot of state employees around here in town too. I mean, that's like, like primo. I mean, when I say I was very fortunate to make a very good living, I made a very good living. I mean, I'm not bitching about the welfare stuff I did because, as I said, listen, I was a member of a state licensed monopoly to provide a service. And as such, I always viewed it as my duty to provide a certain amount of free services to people that couldn't pay me. Period. I mean, it's not like they can go out and, and go to some local shaman or charlatan, or they might be trying to do that. But, I had the state's imprimatur on that. And so I always thought that I should, Now, I didn't say I wanted to do a lot of it. I mean, I just, my reasonable share. I think over the years I probably did around about a sixth of my work was that way. It was that.
Yeah. Help keep the patients alive.
Well, yeah. I mean, if a human being comes in and needs help, you help them, doesn't it? That's,
right.
Yeah. All right, I think today's little episode is
It's sort of like over here, when
Yeah.
guests come in, you help the guests when they need help.
Well, there you are. And unfortunately, I didn't have to. Well, fortunately, I didn't have to talk with them very much, but you have to talk. So
yeah, I give them directions all over town.
I
and
know.
Stuff too.
My son says I'm partially Asperger's, so the less I have to talk with some folks, the better off everybody is.
Asperger.
Well, we can get into that another time and place, but. Having said, my son said I don't like to talk to a lot of folks. Here I am, doing all sorts of stuff. So there we are. Contradictions and ironies in life. Huh? All right, now